Hey, how's it going, YouTube? This is Eric Abroad with the Eric AbroadCast, and welcome to this week's podcast. Oh, a lot of viewers today. Yeah, okay. It's been a while. Sorry about that. I've been gone for basically the last month for winter break. I hope your winter break was as busy as mine was, or maybe your lack thereof of a winter break. Anyways, guys, welcome to the podcast. For those who may be new to the channel, my name is Eric, and on this channel we talk primarily about Japanese culture and things related to Japan, studying in Japan, living in Japan, things like that. And yes, I guess this week we're going to be recapping some things related to Japan, but not so much. Basically, I went and visited my friend Anthony. If you saw my last live event on my channel, we did a live event with my buddy Anthony for like 3 or 4 hours. It was a really long night. It was kind of a live stream kind of thing. Really cool dude. Him and I both studied abroad in Osaka, Japan last year. And he lives in Boston, so I went and visited him after Christmas. I did Christmas with the family, all that, and the next day I flew out to Boston. Stayed with Anthony and his really nice family. They let me and this other guy, Mike, who you guys also may know from other videos that we've done live events for. Me, Anthony, and Mike all studied abroad at the same time. We became pretty good homies over in Japan, and we've stayed in touch a lot, even though they're on the East Coast and I'm over here in Portland, Oregon on the West Coast. We stay in touch a lot because we really miss, I mean, hanging out together, but also just like in Japan, things related to that, the food, we miss all of it. So us being able to like meet up again was a lot of fun, and we actually got to meet up with some Japanese friends, so it's almost like we never left, you know. And it was my first time going to the Big Apple, to New York City. And I think today I have like a few topics. Again, this is the podcast, it's not the most structured thing, but I try to have at least kind of a topic we're going to discuss today. And I was trying to think, like, how could I incorporate New York into Japan or something like that? Well, one thing is for sure is that it was New Year's, and New Year's in Japan is a very different thing. It's handled very differently than we do in America. I guess we'll get into detail later in the podcast, but I guess if I was just to sum it up for you guys like quickly, Christmas in America is kind of the family holiday. Same with Thanksgiving. Everyone gets together, and you know, it's kind of a religious thing, but it's also family and tradition, things like that. In Japan, Christmas is more of like a dating couples day. It's more of just like a fun holiday, kind of like Halloween or something. New Year's in America, you know, is a party. I'm not sure. I'm sure in Europe it's probably the same. I actually don't know. I'm ignorant to European culture. I apologize, but I'd imagine it's somewhat the same, right? Like, it's New Year's. There's somewhat of like we say the ball drops in the Big Apple or whatever for the New Year, and it's just kind of a big party, right? That's what we do in America. That's what we did in New York. In Japan, New Year's is actually, that's the biggest holiday of the year. That's the family day. Everyone goes home to visit their family over New Year's. It's known as Oshogatsu. I guess in Japanese, it's basically like the new month, the fresh month. I forget sho, like the kanji there, but don't worry about it. It's Oshogatsu. And I personally, when I was in Japan, I left just before Oshogatsu because I was living with a host family, and they actually did not intend on having me be a part of it because it's such a family thing. You know, like, I was almost not really invited, and I wasn't offended. I totally understood. I'm like, you know, it's not, you know, it was none of my business. So I actually last year, for New Year's, I flew home to visit family and friends and celebrate the new year like that, which was a lot of fun. But I never got to experience like the real Japanese Oshogatsu, like New Year's kind of tradition festival or whatever. But we can talk about it in the podcast today because I know a little bit about it. We'll get into that a bit later. Another thing I'd love to talk about is the pros and cons of, I guess we have a new Japanese word today for you guys to learn, those who are studying Japanese. The word is hitoritabi. I'll say it a little slower. So hitori means like one person. Hitori, like Hitori, hitori. And then tabi, Tabi, hitoritabi. Tabi means basically like a trip or some kind of a vacation. So hitoritabi, as you may, you know, have guessed, is a solo trip or traveling alone. You know, living in Japan, I was in a sense kind of traveling alone a lot of the time, in that, like, yeah, I had a host family and stuff like that, but I was more or less on my own. I was looking out for myself in a lot of ways. So going to New York and staying let's see. Well, I'll get into the story in a bit, but for a while I was in a hostel, so I was doing a little bit of a hitoritabi after all my friends went home. And it's very different, and I think there's some very good pros and cons that I'd love to talk about. Although this story is talking about my experience in America, it could apply to any country, and even Japan. I wrote something else. Oh yeah, so it's traveling alone, the pros and cons of that, the differences in New Year's in Japan and America, but also experiencing culture shock within your own country. Before I went to Japan, I did so much research and so much YouTube video watching and trying to really immerse myself in the culture before I ever went, that when I got there, I felt fairly comfortable. You know, there was obviously a lot of culture shocks and a lot of things like that, but I was kind of ready for them. I was kind of like, you know, in a stance, like ready for culture shock and ready to tackle it. So I was never really like floored by anything, like in a bad way. In good ways, yeah, sure, but not like in a bad way. But going to New York, wow, like really, I was really surprised. It's a totally different world out there. And I know New York is probably different to any city in America, but especially where I come from. I live in Portland, Oregon, or technically just outside of Portland, Oregon. It's technically known as, if you've seen Portlandia, it's a TV show that kind of makes fun of Portland culture because it's a very hipster. Not everyone here might not know what hipster means. Just Google the word hipster and it'll kind of explain it. Americans, we all know what it means, but it's basically, I tried to explain hipster to my Japanese friends, and they kind of had a hard time because like hipster, like the fashion and stuff, it's like, I guess in Japanese they'd call it like oshare or something, where it's kind of fancy, almost kind of classy. But in America, like being a hipster, it's like you're purposely being almost ironic, like wearing a mustache that's like 100 years out of style, but you still look cool. It's just you look kind of strange or interesting. It's usually guys with like big mustaches, their hair is kind of slicked back. I guess, I mean, maybe kind of like mine, but more like 1950s. I imagine kind of like what's like a movie, maybe like Back to the Future. You know, when they go in the first one, when they go back and the dad, he's got his hair all greased over. I mean, that's a horrible example, but I'm just saying like they basically, you can kind of take like a style that might not be in fashion, and that is the fashion. Like it's like it's cool to not be cool kind of thing. Drinking coffee, writing books in a cafe, like on your MacBook, glasses. That's the scarf. That's the total hipster kind of persona here. But unfortunately, Portland is also. I knew that this was a thing about Portland, but I never really realized or saw. How do I say? Like really experienced the difference until I went to the East Coast for the first time. Was how primarily white it is here. It's very Caucasian heavy. I think it's actually known as the whitest city in America. That's like the quote unquote, it's the whitest city in America. Of course we have diversity, you know, Hispanics, you know, Asian, African American. I always get scared saying this because it's like the politically correct terms are always changing now, but basically just, you know, minorities and things like that. But it is primarily white. And I guess like growing up, I've kind of like looking back, I'm like, yeah, I guess it was like, I look back at the school, that I like went to high school with, like, I only had like 3 or 4 African American friends, a couple guys that were like half Asian. I had a lot of Hispanic friends, but mostly white. And, going to New York was just a very, very different experience. There's a very big urban community. There's communities, like a Jewish community. You have Italian communities. It's like this whole conglomerate. And I know this is like, for anyone who lives on the East Coast, you guys are probably like falling asleep or canceling out of the podcast. I apologize. But really, like, me coming from the West Coast, I showed up and it was like, oh my God, like, I'm experiencing culture shock pretty hard. Like, it took a few days for me just to get like comfortable. Like, I'm not saying like it was like a racial thing. It's just it's a very different culture. And then New York itself is kind of just its own entity. Like, it's loud. The cars don't stop. It's 24/7 pretty much. By the time I was done with New York, I was so ready to get out of there. Like, it was a lot of fun, but by the time you're done, I guess anyone, my friend, even Anthony, who lives in Boston, he's like, New York's like a weekend place. Like, go there for the weekend and then get back to real life. Cause like, it's like, I personally, after being there, I couldn't live there. I fell in love with city life, going to Osaka and Japan and things like that. But New York is just this, it's another entity. It's dirty. It smells bad. There's garbage everywhere. It's a lot of fun. It's kind of like an adult playground. If you're 21 and you can go to New York and you have some money, you can spend some money. Oh man, I'm from today leading up to like the day I graduate, I've actually like officially like made like a personal vow to stop spending money. Like if you've seen my week this week, I haven't gone out. Actually, wait, I went out last night, but not really. It was like we went and got like a cheap $8 dinner as opposed to cooking my own dinner, which would probably cost about $5 or $6, you know? Yeah, I'm not buying any clothes. I'm not buying any more computer equipment unless something like breaks that I need to replace. My GoPro is the camera that I primarily use while traveling. I actually dropped it on New Year's while we were at a bar celebrating, and the screen broke. So normally I have like a screen on the back so I can see the footage or whatever if I need to. That broke. The camera itself still works, but if I want to see the image, I have to like connect it via Bluetooth to my phone, and it's laggy and it's a pain in the ass. So that's a bummer, but I told myself, nope, Eric, like I can't buy another GoPro just because the screen's broken. Maybe I can sell it for like $100 and then upgrade to a new one, you know, or whatever. They're not even that expensive, but I'm really, because I'm in America trying to graduate and I'm hoping to go back to Japan. And after being in New York, I just, you know, I spent a pretty good amount of money. Not like, I didn't go too crazy, but I budgeted out, you know, a lot of money, and I kind of used it all. So, yep, I'm living frugally from now on. I'm locking myself basically in the house. I'm trying not to go out. I'm trying to have friends come over to my house to drink and hang out rather than go out to bars and stuff, just because I'm just broke, man. I'm broke. YouTube doesn't pay. You know, I have a small channel here. This is just something I do for fun. Luckily, I've been doing some part-time work. I'm really rambling here. I apologize. I'm a little bit scrambled. It's been so long. It's been about 4 weeks since we've done the podcast. I don't really know where to start. Let's backtrack. Let's slow down. Okay. So I went to New York and all that shit, but let's talk about that in a second. I guess let's see. It's been so long. I'm gonna go ahead. Let's read some YouTube comments that you guys have posted. I have a few here that I just grabbed right before I started this. I guess let's start with that because Eric's starting to get a little bit. Okay, here we go. So the first comment comes from Dylan Beaver, who says, Eric, very glad I found the channel. I'm taking a trip during April to see Japan. Actually, me too. I have my friends showing me Tokyo, but I don't have anyone in Osaka. Since it looks like that is where you spent most of your time, I thought you could give some ideas. Thanks again. So it sounds like you're going to go to both. The way you word this comment makes it sound like you're going to Tokyo and you have friends showing you, and then you're going to go to Osaka, but you have no one to show you things. I'll tell you this. I'm actually, part of the reason why I'm trying to save money too is I'm actually planning on, I haven't bought a plane ticket yet, but I'm pretty much planned on it, to go to Japan for 1 week in spring break. I may not record a lot for the channel just because the week is actually the purpose for going. One, just to go back to Japan, it'd be nice for a week, but the main purpose is I actually may have a job opportunity waiting for me in Japan. And I did a Skype interview online with the boss of the company I applied for. And he asked me, you know, I can't work in Japan until after I graduate. You legally have to have a bachelor's degree to work full-time on like a working visa, if you want to work legally in Japan. So I have to wait for that. But he said, if there's any time that you can come before that to meet, if you can find a cheap plane ticket, I'd love for you to grab one and come out and, you know, see the company and, you know, meet me personally and things like that. So, I'm keeping it vague because it's still on the table. It's still kind of up in the air whether or not it's going to happen. But I'm basically going to Japan to go meet with the boss and check out the company, and see how that all goes. More details on that later, obviously, as that comes. I guess it'd be embarrassing if I may not even get the job, is why I don't want to talk about it too much. So, but I want to go back. I want to go meet the boss and things like that. Spend a few days doing that. And then I'd probably have about, you know, after jet lag, like 2 or 3 more days to kind of explore my own. But again, like, I'm going back to a place that I lived for a year, a place that I've already recorded a lot of footage, a place that I have a lot of videos that I haven't edited yet. So, like, there's not a lot for me to record unless I was to go on, like, some, like, trip. Like, I go into Osaka, and then I take a train, you know, 2 hours west to fucking, like, the countryside or something. Then I'd make a video, but the week I'm going back is primarily just kind of, I guess it's primarily business. And I'll see some friends, go get some food and stuff, and I'm staying with some people and stuff like that. But it's not gonna be too crazy. But I guess, yeah, if you're in Osaka in the time I'm there, just like hit me up actually. That'd be kind of cool. I mean, I'd at least love to like grab a beer or like, you know, take you to a restaurant that I like or something. But as far as ideas for Osaka, let's see. I'll keep this strictly to downtown. We call it, it's like South Osaka, like Minami. Minami means south in Japanese. They call it Minami if you go there. It's basically, if you right now, if you Google Osaka, probably the first thing you'll see is this. It's called the Glico sign. It's like a sign like this. How do I do it? It's like, yeah, it's this runner. It's this old sign for, I think it's a gum company or candy company. It's called Glico. It's like one of the oldest signs in Japan, but it's all neon and like lit, and it's huge. It's like the icon of Osaka. Like if you go there, you have to get a picture with the Glico man and like do the pose. In that area, oh man, I wish I had this ready, because the name of the restaurant that I like, the one I most like, the name is all in kanji, and I still don't know the name. I just have it saved on my phone. I'll have to find it. But if you contact me or something, like through Instagram or something, just let me know, and I can find the name for you. But as far as like the mainstream places you can go that are good and easy, like foreign friendly, there's a place called Fugetsu. It's like Fugetsu, I guess, if you were to spell it in English character or like Roman letters. Fugetsu is a okonomiyaki restaurant, which I've talked about many times. It's the Osaka food. I won't go into it too much. It's basically the best pancake, bacon, saucy, delicious thing you'll ever have in your life. It's fucking amazing. Go to Fugetsu, get a beer, and get any kind of whatever you want, because okonomiyaki is meant to be made to like people's likings. Get what you want, but get it. They have like, you can get it called, I think it's called modan, which means they put soba noodles inside of it. Do it that way. Get whatever you want, and then say like with the soba. You'll see like an option. It'll say modan. I think they have an English menu too, so you should be good. But try to ask for modan if that becomes a problem. And then as far as bars, oh man, hold on. I'm actually gonna take a second. Oh God, what was the name? I guess while I'm looking this up, I'll go into this. I mentioned this on a previous podcast, I believe, how important Google Maps is, actually, because one, you know, you get lost and you want to get around, but on the map, you know, you can, a lot of people probably know this, but you can save locations like a star. So this is particularly awesome in Japan, because you might, like, for example, my favorite restaurant, I don't even know the name of it. I just know where it is. I know how to get there, and I know how to order the food and stuff. I can't even read the kanji, but I saved the name of it. And okay, so here I got it pulled up. Yeah, again, the name of that one, it's not even coming up on here. I'll have to get it later. But the Fugetsu is there. A bar I really like, if you like kind of like more of like a dive bar, kind of grungy feel, but it's in Japan, so it's not like scary or anything. It's totally chill. Cheap drinks, but like really fun. It's called Zero with 2 R's. So I guess like zero. That is a little bit, I'm looking on the map here. I think that's north of, yes, it's a little bit, I think it's north of the Glico sign. Is it not? Maybe I'm looking at this wrong. I feel like an idiot. Just Google north, or sorry, Google Zero with 2 R's. The best club I like, well, there's a few. I like one called Wax, and there's another club called Cheval. That's Cheval. If you like going to clubs or anything like that, Cheval is crazy fun. And then there's a really cool, if you're kind of more into like video games and just kind of want to chill out, there's actually a game bar. This is actually a video that I recorded, and it's a shame. It's like, there's no excuse why I haven't put it up yet. I'm hoping this weekend, because I have no plans. Again, I told you, I'm like, part of the benefit of me saving money is that I'm not going out. I won't be as busy. I'm going to be studying a lot of Japanese and doing my homework like on time. That being said, I should be doing homework right now. I have class tomorrow. But I should have a lot more time for editing. So I made a video of this game bar. It's called Video Game Bar Space Station. Google that. Can you see that? Video Game Bar. Wow, that's really bright. Sorry. Video Game Bar Space Station. Maybe it'll come up if I lower the brightness. Oh, look at that. Terrible. You can't see shit. It's okay. Video Game Bar Space Station. Google that shit. It's really cool. Essentially, it's a really, really small bar. I don't believe there's a cover. I think you just go in, and at the counter, there's various CRT tube televisions and like new televisions with a ton of video game systems. And behind that, like against the wall, there's a shelf of a bunch of old school games. So I really like Super Nintendo games, for example. They have like every game you'll ever want to play. So you can just play games, order a drink, and just play games. It's pretty fun. Yeah, just there's a lot of people in there, like salary workers. They call them salarymen. Basically just like office workers. They'll go in there and smoke cigarettes, have some drinks, and just play games. It's pretty fun. So I guess that's kind of a wide range. There's some food, a couple bars, a couple clubs, and a video game bar if you're kind of feeling a little bit more nerdy. Yeah, that's what's talking. Otherwise, just send me a message and I can find some other stuff, because those were kind of like some of my like go-to bars. Just like if I would just go there just to like start the night, I would just go to one of those places, and like that's where I'd start, because it's pretty fun. Otherwise, you'll find a ton of stuff to do. There's so much food, there's so many stores, and just being in the city is exciting enough. It's really bright. But wow, I just answered that question for a long time. Sorry about that. Next question is from Neenlo! Exclamation point! Neenlo says, Eric, do you have a Twitter? I want to see if your social media is as underrated as your YouTube. Well, thank you. And yes, it is as underrated as YouTube, because my Twitter channel is terrible. Actually, I've been trying to get into it more. I'm not a big Twitter guy. I'm more of a, I really, really love Snapchat. And I actually apologize. I feel like I'm just rambling. For anyone listening to this podcast, I want to get into the other stuff. I guess here I'm at like 20 something minutes. We'll do comments for another like 5 minutes here. Sorry. Okay. Yes, my Twitter. Sorry, some of my throat there. My Twitter, I don't know. I'm more of a Snapchat guy, and lately, a lot of people have actually been adding me on Snapchat, which is really cool. Because people can like send me a snap like, hey Eric, like Happy New Year. Like on New Year's, I got a lot of snaps from you guys. Like, thank you guys for all those, to anyone who sent me a snap. People send me messages and I'll reply really quick, because it's just, Snap's so easy. I can't guarantee I'll reply to like if I woke up in the morning to 50 messages, I probably can't reply to every single one. But yeah, add me on Snap. Instagram though, I do that a lot too. I'll post a picture maybe like every like 2 or 3 days, and any comments or any like direct messages, I'll reply to those as well. And then usually I post like the same picture on Twitter, because Twitter is just like my last, like I don't really like Twitter, but a lot of people keep saying like, if you're doing YouTube, you have to have a Twitter, you have to have a way to message people quick in case there's like, say I was supposed to post a video and it's not up and I have to explain it, things like that. And it's just fun. I could see it actually being pretty fun. I never grew up on Twitter. I think Twitter is much more of an East Coast thing. No one on the West Coast. I'm okay. I can't say that, because I'm sure a lot of you watching are on the West Coast and you use Twitter every day. But like where I live, I don't know a single friend that uses Twitter, like actively, none. So yes, my Twitter is very underrated. But thanks for the compliment. Another question from Camelot96. This is a question I get a lot, and I'll answer it probably every time just because I know it's confusing. Eric, are you still in Japan? Let's answer that really quickly. Right now, no, I'm not. And I know it's confusing because on my channel, my videos that I post are primarily videos that I've recorded all of last year, and I just simply haven't edited them and uploaded them yet. So it, like, for example, the last video I did about, or the onsen one with it was celebrating Christmas at Japanese hot spring. In that video, I say like, I wake up on Christmas Day and I look at the Christmas tree and there's no gifts, and I'm like, oh shit, I forgot. I'm in Japan. There's no gifts on Christmas. It's just Japan. A lot of commenters like misinterpreted that, thinking that I was like announcing this like, oh, I'm in Japan. They were like, oh, he's back. Like I saw a lot of comments. They're like, Eric's back in Japan. I'm so happy. And I'm like, oh shit. Like I even put like Japan 2015 in like the title. I was hoping that would clarify it, but obviously it's still confusing. No, I'm not in Japan currently. But I do intend on going back there, hopefully to move there to be working. More details on that later as that gets figured out. But that is the more or less, that's the short answer. I'm studying still. This is my final year. I have 2 more semesters, and so that's part of my motivation too, with saving money and just like canceling all my plans to study, because I only have 2 more semesters. I might as well fucking finish, it's just 2 more. I only have so much time left in the States, assumingly. But I could spend the summer, saying goodbye to people and stuff like that if I end up getting a job or anything. I last semester I just felt like I slacked quite a bit academically. Like I just got so busy and caught up with like other things and YouTube and more just like work and outside of school. This semester I really, really want to kill it in class, especially in Japanese. the reading we're supposed to do for this week. Yeah, I couldn't tell you how many times I've read it. Like, I feel pretty confident. After this podcast, I'm gonna be studying it even more. Yeah, I want to kill it. So I'll hopefully be back soon is my answer. But videos of myself in Japan from last year are going to continue for sure. And I guess let's see. I'll do like a couple more comments here, and then we'll get back to the story here. Shout out to Jacob Magnuson, who says, "New sub, Eric, you deserve 1 million more." Oh, thanks, Jacob. I appreciate that. Maybe someday. Maybe PewDiePie will start handing out subs, or who's like a J vlogger. Maybe Abroad in Japan will hand me some or something. Rebecca116 says, oh, this is actually a good one. I'll read this one really quick. Rebecca116 says, you're so fortunate to be a native English speaker. That's one big requirement in most of the Japanese schools or academies. I think what she means is to teach English. Yes, that's true. And that might actually be true for a lot of jobs as a foreigner. And I hope I'm not being like the bearer of bad news to someone who may not already know this, who has intentions of teaching English in Japan. It is possible to teach English in Japan as a foreigner. I'll say that because I have a friend from the Philippines. He's not a native English speaker. He's a very, very fluent English speaker, but he's not native. He's working full-time teaching English in Japan right now in Osaka. And but I'm not gonna lie, when it's not like an unknown thing that if you are a native English speaker, if you're from a native English speaking country, your chances of getting a job are a lot higher. And I hate to say that because I hope that there's not someone out there who's like has dreams to go and they get crushed by me saying that. Don't let it get crushed. It's definitely still possible. There's definitely degrees and certificates you can get for English teaching and ways to get into jobs and maybe start low and kind of work up. Even myself, if I go, I'm going to be starting at like the bottom and like a really, really low wage. But just as a starting point, you know, and then going from there. But yes, it is an unfortunate thing that if you are a native English speaker, your chances of getting a job are much higher. So I hope that encourages anyone who is a native English speaker. If you feel like you are interested in teaching in Japan or anything like that, I hope that if you have that, you know, desire to go, that you have an opportunity to do it. And I encourage anyone who really actually wants to do it and thinks they can to try it. I know there's things like JET and things like that people can do. So if you're a native English speaker, you have a high advantage. If you don't, I hope I hope I'm not ruining your night or anything, but it is an unfortunate thing. That's why I put that comment in there actually, because I thought that was something good to bring up. I haven't really talked about. Last few. Deborah Huds, Eric, just discovered your channel. Watched a few of your videos. They're really good. You have a new subscriber. Thanks, Deborah. Again, these are just some new subscriber shout outs. And then the last one from Sir Fox. I hated vlog channels, but you are fucking amazing. Keep doing what you're doing. And to Sir Fox, I replied, yes, death to drone shots and overly excited vloggers. I guess, I don't know. I mean, I'm like naturally overly excited. Like it may like, hi, welcome to YouTube. Hi guys, hi. I'm just like a hyper guy though. Like I try to keep it real, I guess, you know. I like really, this is you're talking to me right now. Like this is not like if you were to meet me in real life, like I like to think that I'm the same guy. But I don't watch a lot of vloggers because I watch them for about 1 minute and I can't stand it. It's always the same. They start with like the funniest part of the video right at the beginning, and then they say a line. It cut to a hip hop instrumental, you know, and it's a shot of their drone of their nearby beach or some shit, or it's always the same, and then it cuts with a, hey, how's it going, YouTube? It's me there, you know, I'm standing here, I'm gonna have some breakfast, and like, you know, it's just, I can't do it. It's annoying, it's obnoxious, but of course, you know, I'm doing a vlog channel, but I can't do it in that way. It just drives me nuts. So thanks, Sir Fox, for I also death to the basic vlog channels. Not that I'm trying to like, you know, pave the road for like a new thing or anything out here, but like I personally can't stand them. I don't watch them at all. I watch a few vloggers like H3H3 is pretty funny. iDubbbz, you know, it's all kind of cancerous comedy, but I think it's pretty funny. But I really don't watch a lot of vlogging on YouTube. I've given shout outs to Abroad in Japan before. He's probably, I would say he's the best like J vlogger. He's not much of a vlogger, but he's like just a guy who's documenting about life in Japan. He's like the best. That's the best channel. I know there's other channels like Rachel and June. I don't really watch it though. I'm not bashing Rachel and June. If they ever want to do a video with me, let's do one. But I don't really watch the channel too much just because, you know, I don't know. I only have so much time in the day. So anyways, that's it for comments. Let's get back to the story as I've wasted like a half hour just kind of introducing all this shit. Yes, how should we start this? Let's see. Traveling alone. Let's do that. So, basically, long story short, I went and visited Anthony and my friend Mike, and a few other guys in Boston. We hung out for about half a week. And it's funny. I actually brought this microphone, my laptop, like all my gear, my whole setup. It took up like half my bag, with intentions on doing a podcast either in Boston or while we were doing New Year's in New York. Cause I thought, you know, that'd be pretty cool. Like, hey, let's do a podcast together, like with like 3 people. We ended up having like so much fun and having so many plans, and you know, we only had so much time to do shit that we're like, you know, let's go out and like have fun, that we just decided not to do it. We couldn't like find a moment where it's like, hey, do you want to sit here for 3 hours and troubleshoot a podcast? We couldn't bring ourselves to do it. So that's part of the reason why this podcast is also a month late, is that I did no podcasting. I did a lot of recording though in New York. You guys are going to get a video hopefully soon. I'm going to be editing this weekend. I got some sweet footage of New York. There is some, like, that place is just insane. You go out there and there is, I'm not even going to describe it actually. No, it's going to be a surprise. It was a lot of fucking fun though. And, doing New Year's in New York, we did not go to Times Square because fuck that. For those who don't know, Times Square is like the big main part of New York where everyone goes for the big show. How about Mariah Carey, by the way? Yo, did you guys see that shit? Like, what, like, how, I don't know. It's like the level of laziness. I almost have respect for how like baller it is. If you guys haven't seen it, go on YouTube right now and type in Mariah Carey New Year's live show. Oh man, she basically, it's like, it's still kind of a mystery to me what really happened, but it seemed like there was like her lip sync, because they obviously do lip syncing. That's not like an unknown thing, and that's, I have no problem with it. But it was like her microphone or her headphone was off or something, so she just stopped singing. Like, how, like, where's the professionalism anymore in shows or artists or musical talent? It just shows how like pop music, you know, it's fun music and you can dance to it and stuff like that, but it's just this produced thing. It's a factory made product, and so is the person, you know, they're just this fake, you know, anyways. I thought that was so fucking funny. I felt so bad for anyone who went. I had some Japanese friends, a couple girls, that they went to Times Square at about noon. Like, they waited from noon till midnight to watch the ball drop, just to have like the good spot. You had to get there so early, and they're like, "Are you coming?" And I'm like, "No, I'm not standing there for 12 hours. Like, forget that." Me and Anthony, my friend Brett, and Elisa, if you guys have seen really old videos, they're in those videos. We all went to a bar in Brooklyn, had a ton of fun. I got very drunk, and the bartender was giving out, like, really, she gave out like free champagne bottles, free shots. One thing to know, if you're gonna go to New York for New Year's, the cover, just to get to even just basic, well, not every bar, but like if you're like in Times Square, just to get into a bar is gonna cost you like $60. So we didn't know this. We were planning on just kind of bar hopping, like, because I like to do that. Like, let's just walk out, find a bar, go in, and like that's how we were gonna do it. But we would try to go. We were calling and just kind of just asking, like, you know, how, like, hey, like, how, you know, I don't know, just, is it too crowded? Do we need to buy tickets or anything? And we'd call, and they're like, oh, we're sold out of tickets. Like, you didn't buy a ticket last week. And we're like, what? So we ended up going to Brooklyn instead and had a ton of fun. It was a great time. And we had to pay about $40 to get in, but it was kind of like a dance club bar. We didn't dance at all, but we had a lot of drinks, and there's a lot of footage from that night. So I'm gonna have to pick and choose because some of it's pretty sloppy, but I can't wait to share that with you guys. I obviously wish I could have uploaded it way sooner because it's like the middle of January now. I might not even upload it till like beginning of February, but I think it'll be really interesting. And really, like I said, I never thought I would really. I know, like, America's kind of an exception in a lot of ways in that it's so big. There's so many different cultures within America. Like, you go to Texas and you get the cowboy barbecue, like Western, you know, maybe some racism, things like that. You go to New York, it's the Big Apple, crazy, you know, I don't know, East Coast shit. We went to Boston and they had things like lobster rolls, a bunch of seafood, Irish pubs. They actually have like historical landmarks. The public library was pretty cool. They had like all their buildings are made out of brick and cobblestone, and I was like, dude, I felt like I was like in Ireland, or like, I don't know, it felt like here in Portland, it's such a like, I'm pretty sure Portland is really like, I actually don't know, but I'm pretty sure it's like established as a city. It may have been established a while ago, but I'm pretty sure as like a successful city, it didn't start until like 1905 or something like that. So it's like only like 100 years old. There's not a lot of history in Portland. I mean, there's some statues and shit, but none of it's over 100 years old. But in Boston, it's like, yeah, this monument, it's a couple hundred years old. This bar has been here since whenever. It was really, really cool. And I really did not expect that much culture shock from a place just within my own country. You know, I speak fluent English, and so does everyone there, but they all have a little bit of an accent. The food's different, the cultural norms. I don't know. I guess I can't go into detail. It's just that it was a big culture shock for me. And if you've never been on the East Coast, I highly encourage. I had a great time. I can't wait to post a video of I had a great time in Boston, especially. Crazy. It was absolutely crazy. And, yeah, so basically, I went with, a group of friends, and then together we took a Greyhound to New York, met up with my friend Brett and Elisa. We did the whole New Year's thing, spent like 2 or 3 days recovering from the hangover. And then after that, they all left. Like, they all kind of lived there, or Brett and Elisa, they flew out, they were just leaving, New York. But Anthony and Mike, they were just going home because they live on the East Coast. So I had about 2 or 3 days alone, which I was really excited for. And even more so after we all met, because as fun as it is hanging out with all your friends and having plans and all this shit, it's exhausting, man. Like having, someone's like, hey, I gotta run this errand. Like, oh, we gotta go to the bathroom. Like, oh, we have to check this out. Like, oh, my friends, we gotta wait for my friend. It's fun, but it's just like, going alone, you can just, again, I did this a lot in Japan, but it was kind of my first time in America going on a solo trip. I had a fucking blast. I think some of the most fun I had in New York was the last like 2 days where I walked around Central Park for a while by myself. I went to the sign. If you look at my Instagram, my favorite show of all time, at least American shows, is Seinfeld. Like, I know it's a generic thing. Everyone loves Seinfeld. It's the most successful sitcom in American television sitcom history. That show is my life. Like, I grew up. I've seen the reruns. I've seen everything of that show. I love Curb Your Enthusiasm. I've seen, Comedians in Cars Getting Coffee. Jerry Seinfeld, Larry David, and Bill Burr are my dudes. Those are like my 3 comedians. And Bill Burr's from Boston, so it was like when I listened to his podcast and he talks about Boston, I'm like, oh yeah, I know what he's talking about there. And yeah, so I went and saw the restaurant that is inside of if you watch Seinfeld, there's a restaurant. In the show it's called Monk's Cafe, but in real life I think it's called Tom's Restaurant. And it's just a totally normal diner. Of course it's famous. They sell like t-shirts that say like the Seinfeld restaurant written on it and things like that, and there's signed pictures on the wall. It was actually a cool restaurant. It was really good. But just a typical diner. But I got a picture in front of it, and that alone made my trip personally. Like, just like I touched the wall of the Seinfeld restaurant. Like, for me, it was such a lifetime like childhood dream. I know it sounds lame to a lot of you who would probably like see it all the time, but for me, for real, I loved that. And so shout out to my friend Mike. He was with me. The same guy, Mike. He came back for one day, and we went around and he took some pics of me at the restaurant. So shout outs to Mike. Thanks again. Yes. Anyways, I spent the last couple of days. I have one friend that lives there. We spent about half a day. I was like, hey, just show me New York a little bit. And he showed me like the best like bagel and lox basically sandwich that you can get he lives in the East Village that he's aware of. He's like, yo, you have to get this bagel, do this. And it was fucking fire. And I recorded all this on YouTube or on the GoPro, so I'll be able to share it with you guys later. But I just had a blast, man. I found myself wandering through Chinatown at night, which apparently is not a good idea. Apparently it's actually pretty sketch. I wasn't really aware of that. And that was fun. I found some good Chinese restaurants. I went to Koreatown, which is good. Me and Anthony, we found this really cool soju bar. Soju is like a Korean drink. That was a lot of fun. But again, yeah, it was like we had fun doing like the solo thing, or the group friend, hangout thing. But traveling alone is awesome. Like, I think it's probably I'm going to explain it right now, but it's probably already obvious, like the pros and cons to it. But really, it's like pros: wake up when you want, shower when you want, go to the bathroom when you want, get breakfast when you want, get coffee. I was quiet. I put in headphones, listened to the music that I wanted, and I just cruised around the city. Like, it was so nice. I could just take my time. Like, it was never like, hey, what are we doing next? Like, what are we doing now? Why aren't we doing something? We're in New York. It was just like, I'm just living. And I went to Central Park. I rented a bike, cruised around, got some food. Like, I'm a little hungry. I went and saw the Book of Mormon, the Broadway show. Holy shit. Like, it was actually, I recorded just like, you know, I obviously didn't record the show, but I recorded myself going into the show and like my reactions to it. So I'm going to put that in the video as well. I know none of this is related to Japan, but I just hope it just, you know, traveling alone is awesome. And if you're scared to travel alone in Japan, I would encourage you not to be. It is scary. You know, even for me, I can speak pretty decent Japanese now. It's still scary as hell. But if you go to like Tokyo or downtown Osaka, like a really touristy place, Nara, any tourist, Hokkaido even, Okinawa, any places like that, you'll be fine. Like, maybe go with another friend. But I want to really encourage the solo traveling. If you're, I hope this doesn't come across as sexist. This is just because it's a going abroad kind of thing. If you are a girl going alone, all I say is please be careful, because for obvious reasons, be careful. Even going alone as a guy, be careful, you know. Don't do what I did. Don't go into Chinatown at midnight in New York, not knowing where you're going, looking at your phone, obviously not from around the area. Don't do that. I made a couple dumb mistakes. Just stay in, like, you know, really populated areas if you are nervous. And if you're a girl, you know, just, you know, be careful, you know. Don't get too drunk by yourself or anything like that, you know. But, you know, obvious shit. You know, yeah. I really want to encourage it because I had so much fun. Really, after leaving New York, I was like, wow, like some of the most fun I had was just those last 3 days. I went on with my camera and just like, you know, talked about, I don't know, shit, and just, it was just a lot of fun. So I just want to really encourage that. But yeah, New Year's in, again, I kind of brushed on it at the beginning here, and now getting back to it now. But yes, Oshogatsu, Japanese New Year, is apparently, again, I didn't experience it in Japan. So if there's anything I say wrong here, I hope you can correct me, but I'm pretty sure, to my knowledge, it's basically like, it's actually for like a few days. Basically, you hang out with your family and just celebrate the new year. And what is the name? I think I wrote it. Did I write it down? Yeah. It's called, because I couldn't remember the name, so I had to write it down. But it's called osechi. Is apparently it's the traditional food that they usually eat on Oshogatsu. It's kind of like things like sushi. You know, I guess it could be anything. But traditionally, since it was kind of a holiday, it was around a time, well, I guess really back in the day, there was no refrigeration or anything. So the dishes were basically like either like dried out or cured in a way that they didn't have to be refrigerated. And then apparently, I could be totally wrong, but I was just talking to a friend about it, and they mentioned that like basically like the sushi or whatever you're eating or the fish, each one either like has like a meaning to it, like something to do with the new year and like to bring good luck to the next year and, you know, successful harvest and shit like that. Again, I really am ignorant here because I didn't explain it, or I didn't experience it myself. But I hope that if you ever go to Japan and you have a friend, like if you ever get the chance and a friend's like, hey, do you want to celebrate New Year's with my family? Do it, because I didn't get the chance. I'm sure I'll get a chance eventually at some point, or if I ever end up moving there and have a family, you know, whatever. But I'm kind of jealous that I haven't done it yet, and I wish I did. But that's like the main difference, is that like, while yes, they do probably see the ball drop. I saw some snaps of my Japanese friends. They were at a bar and it was like insane. But I'm just saying that like New Year's in Japan is a very, very big deal. It's a much bigger holiday. In America, it's a big deal too. It's a party, but it's more just a party. It's a Happy New Year. Everyone's like friendly and it's fun. But it's just a party, I think, at the end of the day. And in Japan, it's actually kind of culturally like a really cool thing that I can't talk about because I didn't experience it too much. But I hope you guys can like maybe research it a bit on your own, because really there's a lot to it and it's pretty cool. And all my Japanese friends were sending me like snaps of like the food they were eating with their family, and it looks delicious. It's all kind of like in these bento boxes, almost like these wooden boxes, and you slide them out and you pull out like sushi, and it looks fun as hell. It looks really cool. But that's kind of like a difference, I guess, in Japan, in American New Year's, I guess. But yeah, and actually, I guess I'm gonna give a shout out to another friend. While I was in New York on like the last day, a few Japanese friends flew in. We only got to hang out for one night. But my friend Yusuke, he came in. It was his first time in America, and I asked him, like, the first day I approached him, and I was like, "How's America? Like, how do you feel about America?" He's like, "Kawaii," which means like scary. He's like, so scary. He's like, really, he's just like, you know, being around like, you know, different ethnicities and just angry Americans. And in New York, people in New York are dicks, yo. Like, I know, okay, not everyone. If you live in New York, I'm sure you're a nice person, but like, just like for example, Portland's a much smaller place, and I guess any small place you go to, people are more nice. And like New York, it's so fast, you're not allowed, you don't have time to be nice to people. But if you like bump into someone, even just if you look at the traffic, just the cars, they'll be driving and they'll just slam on the horn for like 6 seconds. I've never seen that in my life. If I saw that here in Portland, I would think that there's like a fight about to break out. New York, they're just honking just because they can. And people they're yelling at each other, they're screaming, they're shouting, and I'm just like, that was one of the big culture shocks for me. I was just like, yo, this place is just like unpleasant. No one's nice to me. Like, what the hell? And yeah, it was. But again, it was a lot of fun. It was cool to visit, but I couldn't live there, dude. I couldn't be around that much negativity. It was brutal. Again, I'm like coming for, and I'm sure if you live in New York, there's areas you avoid or some shit. I don't know, and it's probably totally normal. But for me, I was just like, yo, this place is kind of just dirty, smelly, and gross, and everyone's mean. Anyways, I met my friend Yusuke. And he told me he was like scary or whatever. But the reason I'm thinking of him is he actually brought. Oh man, I need to pull up the translation. Basically, this is powdered green tea, but I forget how to read this left one here. So let me pull it up. Here's the professionalism of the podcast where I'm pulling up shit. All right, the reading is Funmatsu Ryokucha. So okay, hold on. Funmatsu. So this side here, I think is it backwards for you guys? No, I guess you guys can see it. Funmatsu Ryokucha. So cha is like tea. Ryoku is the reading for Midori, which is like green. And then this basically just means powder. So it's powdered green tea. There you go. That was a really, really brutal translation there. But he's like, yeah, he brought this as a souvenir when I first got to New York. That's another really big Japanese thing. I could do a whole video about that actually, is the souvenir game in Japan of if you're traveling to a foreign country and you intend on visiting friends, Japanese people always bring like a snack or a cookie or matcha or something as a gift. And at the same time, if they ever go abroad, they're expected to buy gifts while abroad to bring back for their friends and family. So if you ever go to Japan and you're in any kind of like touristy area, you will always find a table that is filled with literally like pre-wrapped souvenirs that are just easy. It's like, hey, do you need souvenirs to bring back to your family? Here. Even within Japan, like I would go to like Tokyo. I bought a bunch of souvenirs for all my friends. They probably didn't need them, but I just felt like people were telling me like it's a kind of a good practice to start if you go somewhere like new, or if you go to Hawaii, buy something Hawaiian and bring it back. So the first thing he did when he met me was just the most Japanese thing. He's like, yep, this is for you. It was the matcha. So I'm drinking that right now. It's pretty good. I don't know if I mixed it all the way. Look, I got it nice and hipster in a mason jar there, and just mixed with some cold water. It's starting to settle on the bottom there, but it's pretty good. If you've ever had like normal green tea, it's basically like that, but a little bit, there's a little more of, I don't know, it's like stronger flavor, I guess. Kind of bitter, but it's good. Like if you like people who like it, but I figured I'd try it right before the podcast just to show you guys, but it's actually pretty good. So shout outs to Yusuke. Thanks for that. And, yeah, again, I am kind of scrambling here just cause, this whole week it's just been oh man, I could go on this for another like half hour. I'm not going to. I'll go into like 5 minutes. If you guys have seen the news, Portland, Oregon has gotten it's gotten record snow. I think it hasn't seen this much snow in like 40 years, at least in the Portland area. I've seen more snow growing up, but as far as like Portland as a whole getting hit with this much snow, it's like record breaking snow right now. And people on the East Coast always laugh at us because it's just like we'll get like a half a foot and the whole city shuts down. Which is, it's fun, it's fair to laugh at, but we never get snow ever. It's a rain city here. It just rains. And so when we get dumped with snow, our city literally isn't like built for it. I'm pretty sure like some people died from hypothermia because they got stuck on the freeway because they couldn't get out of their car. It's like bad. So it started snowing just last week. And I had a friend from Japan named Kazu. Shout out to Kazu. He was here for a few days. And I had school start. It started for me last week. So I was kind of in school mode. I'm coming back from New York. I spent a bunch of money. I'm hungover. I just want to go home, take a shower, get some good sleep, recover, and get into school mode. I'm really motivated this semester to get my Japanese, as good as I can and study as much as I can and really get my kanji back in order and things like that. So I'm coming back with that mentality. And even though my friend, he was staying for a few days, I told him like, hey, I have school, so I will have to focus, but we can hang out in the off time. He's like, that's totally fine. I was basically just housing him, while he's in Portland. Day one, we got snowed in. So school was canceled basically for the whole week. So even though I was in like study mode, and the teachers, they still expect you to get your homework done. So they're assuming like, oh, you have more free time to study, so you should study more, right? And of course, like, no, we're like drinking, going out in the snow, making snowmen and igloos and things like that. If you saw my Instagram, we made a little igloo. I didn't. They did, and they let me take a picture in it. But yes, we sat around literally for a straight week. We have a fireplace. We got the fireplace going. We had to make like survival trips to the only grocery store that was open in town. So we'd have to like walk like miles to get there. That was a lot of fun. We just had a great time. But it sucked because I was really back into motivated student study mode. And then to go back into like, oh, we're still partying, Eric. Like, you don't have to study. There's no school. I was just like, fuck. So yesterday is Sunday. Today's kind of my Sunday because I don't have school today. I have school on Tuesdays. And I've just been studying and trying to get back in the groove, but it's hard when you're just kind of in party mode and you're not really like wanting to study. Getting yourself back into it is kind of a process. So I think I'm now good. After this podcast, I'm going to get a little studying in before bed, and then going into class tomorrow, pretty confident. I feel pretty prepared. So, but there really, it's like we spent the whole week doing kind of nothing. So, yeah, that happened too. Again, yeah, sorry, the last podcast was so long ago. I'm trying to like recap everything that's happened lately, but I think now I'll be back in the groove. Weekly podcast should be back in order, I guess, for now. And I am editing the content from New York, as well as after that. I think I'm going to do that first, so you guys, just to get that out of the way, and then back to Japan stuff. So I hope you guys just, hang tight and just chill out. Not chill out. That sounds mean, but just, just hope you guys hang tight. I'm sure you guys are busy with work and school and stuff, but the weekly podcast should be continuing. Again, if you guys have any questions, any specific topics you guys want me to talk about, or any advice or things like that, leave it in the comments, because I read them all. Obviously, I went through some of the comments today, so I really appreciate the comments, and I thank you guys for the support. And I hope to, I want to get more videos up that are not, the podcasts are fun, but my passion lies with the vlogs. So, I think this weekend, yeah, I'm like purposely not having plans. People keep asking to hang out, and I'm like, no, I need to study and like edit. Like I spent all of winter break just partying and like drinking, and my summer was kind of the same way. I really need to spend one semester like as kind of a loser and like not, really, and like I want to study and get editing done. I got to take care of some shit alone. I'm doing my own hitoritabi, my own solo trip, I guess you could say. I need to continue the solo trip I did in New York for the last couple of days, just doing things on my own time, really kind of just focusing and, selfishly getting shit done. And I need to study. So yeah, I guess you guys will hopefully be seeing a lot more of me, as I'm going to be stuck in this room, or in the other room over there studying. Yeah, so I'm excited for that. So I think with that, guys, I'm going to end the podcast. I'm going to get back to some studying pretty much here. But again, I thank you guys for tuning in. If you guys enjoyed, of course, please leave likes and comments down below and shit like that. But I'm now plugging my Twitter, my Snap, and my Instagram. What else is there? What's the other one? Snap, Twitter, Instagram. Oh shit, I can't even think. What is it? I feel stupid. What is it? I don't know, but I have another one in there. Like, comment, subscribe, and follow. Oh, it's the SoundCloud one. That's what it is. On all those things. Thank you guys seriously so much for supporting. You guys know that I love doing this stuff, and it kills me when I can't. I had a lot of fun in New York, but the whole time I was thinking about doing YouTube. And those last couple of days, I finally got to do some video recording and the whole Seinfeld shit. You guys are going to get to see all that. I can't wait to share it, because that's where it's fun for me. I love the vlogs. So again, thank you guys for tuning in. Sorry again for the delay, but hopefully we'll be going every week here. And next, I don't know what next week's topic is, but if you guys have any ideas, I still have some other ideas, but we'll find something to talk about related to Japan, hopefully, not just New York. But yes, hitoritabi, do solo traveling. Don't be nervous. Be nervous, but like have fun. Don't be too scared to broaden your horizons, I suppose. So to go abroad, to go Eric abroad there. Yeah. thank you guys so much for listening. I hope you guys all have a good night, all have a good week. If you guys are studying, good luck with your studies starting the new term, as I am also getting back in the groove here and having to figure out how to I hate writing papers, and I just spent all day today typing up a paper in Japanese and in English, and it's a pain in the ass and I hate it. But yes, good luck to all of you, and if you're at work, I hope you have a good week. Get over the hump and getting back into shape. If I'm going back to the gym now. I know it's stereotypical with New Year's, but I'm going to the gym. I'm going right now just 3 days a week. It's my 3 days at school. I'm going to start with that 3 days a week, and I'm dieting. I've been eating mad healthy lately. I'm just a skinny kid, and people are like, you don't need to lose weight, but I've been eating like a piece of shit. I feel like crap. And when I eat healthy and I work out, I just feel 20 times better. So if you're also starting your New Year's resolution workouts, good luck. Stick with it. Just kick ass, just do something every day to get something in. You'll feel better. You'll reward yourself better. You'll look better. You look better naked. And I don't know. Good luck. Have a good night, everyone. Thanks again. Love you all. And I'll see you guys, I guess, next week or with another video soon. But see you guys next time. Ja, mata.